It's me, Pup. How are you doing? I, for one, am very excited. Man of Tomorrow, the sequel to Superman, releases next summer. The summer of 2027, if you're watching this from the future. And we're in the exciting part of the prelude to this film's release because now it's starting to become real. The film is filming, which means we get set photos. And we've got our first looks at David Corran Sweat as Superman and Nicholas Hoult as Lex Luthor, the two leading men of the production. And one of the very first things we learned about Man of Tomorrow is that Lex would be sporting his warsuit. And what's interesting about Lex Luthor's warsuit is that it has never really been done in like a big budget live action capacity. You had it in the Arrowverse, and you had a version of it in Superman and Lois. Obviously, when Gene Hackman was playing Lex Luthor, the suit wasn't really a thing. But it's surprising that of the big screen Lex Luthors since, none of them have actually ever worn the power armor. Not until now with Man of Tomorrow. Now, I will say I've never been massive on the idea of like putting Lex Luthor in a mech so that he can become more of a physical threat. I think the appeal of Lex Luthor and his dichotomy with Superman is that he's brains, Superman is brawn. Running around in a power mech would probably feel beneath Lex. That said, I do feel that Superman 2025 did a really lovely job establishing that Superman and Lex Luthor dichotomy and getting it down perfectly. So it's like, okay, now that we've really done that and aced that with flying colors, I'm more than happy for us to tap into some other lesser explored aspects of Superman and Lex. And hell, I had no issue accepting Lex Luthor getting his warsuit in Superman and Lois, because again, it felt like they took the time to earn that and get Lex into a position where it felt warranted. Lex in a mech is, in my opinion, not the optimal way to present that character, but I mean, who says it has to be the same thing every single time, you know? This is exciting. Lex is playing a very different kind of role in this movie as someone who has to be an ally to Superman. And I know that there are some people that are worried that this film's going to give him a redemption, and that's not the case. You're taking a very irredeemable villain and pairing him up with someone who believes there's a better version of that guy, and will never let go of that belief no matter what. And I think, in a way, this is kind of comedic torture porn for Lex Luthor. Because in this official reveal photo of Lex Luthor's mech suit, we could see that that is not a Luthor Corp logo on the suit. That is an Argus logo. And this is a little unique, because Luthor's mech suits don't usually come from Argus. Sometimes it's alien tech, sometimes it's the mother box, sometimes Lex just builds a dang thing himself Iron Man style. But I think after Peacemaker Season 2, it's quite obvious what direction they are now going with Man of Tomorrow and what the overall plot is going to be. Argus is the instigator of the Suicide Squad stories, Amanda Waller being the director of Argus. Lex Luthor isn't choosing to run around in a mech alongside Superman, which, I mean, if anything, recontextualizes the battle armor in a really cool way. I don't think anyone can argue that that harms the integrity of his philosophy as a character. I mean, he could also just be a hypocrite. I mean, do we lose anything by just passing it off as him being a hypocrite? But I don't think this mech is something that Lex has chosen to wear based on the fact that it's got the Argus logo on it. And I don't think we're going to see Lex Luthor freed in this movie either. Lex Luthor is going to be drafted into some kind of battle. Those sons of bitches snuck another Suicide Squad sequel right under our noses. No, but you gotta admit, it is funny how Suicide Squad has kind of become a spine of the DC universe. And yet the very entity is most commonly associated with Jared Leto as the Joker. And I think it speaks to the quality that I don't really mind that they're still going with this, because the projects have been fun. And now we're using Argus as a new framing device for a Superman and Lex Luthor team-up movie. You just don't usually see that. And it's funny because James Gunn has been insisting that the film will not be retitled to Superman, Man of Tomorrow or anything like that. As far as he's concerned, this isn't really a Superman sequel as such. It's a duo movie with Superman as part of the duo. I think there's an interesting opportunity to kind of tell this story from Lex's perspective. The instigating factor is Lex has been drafted into a battle with Brainiac, and then we see Superman get involved with that. And because of that, Lex Luthor and Superman are working together. And as I say, it's like a very comedic torture porn for Lex Luthor in a way. He's having to serve as a pawn in someone else's game, wear a silly little mech suit that doesn't even have his own logo on it, and work with the one person he hates more than anything else in the entire universe. This is not going to be a man with the upper hand. As for the way the mech suit looks, well, in the official image, it's under very dynamic, shadowy lighting. And I'm mentioning that now because there are set photos where you can see it under more neutral lighting. The very warm, very shadowy lighting in the reveal image really hides a lot of the purple accents on this suit, which are indeed there, as we can see. And, yeah, that's a pretty good green mech right there. I've seen some people saying they're surprised that it wasn't a repurposed Hammer of Baravia suit, but again, I think if this were within the context of something Lex had built himself, yeah, sure, Hammer of Baravia it is. It is incredibly chunky. It's got these massive shoulder pads on it. He looks like either Buzz Lightyear or Mysterio with this bubble helmet. Hell, those two little lights there could be like Mysterio's eyes. Some folks have pointed out it looks like Mr. Freeze, and yeah, I agree. If Mr. Freeze rocked up looking like this, I'd be pretty impressed. It's very like Buzz Lightyear, you know, it looks fun. It's fun looking. I would have maybe like a big orange light on the chest or something. I think it's definitely lacking any kind of like orange accents that the power armors in the comics tended to have, and that tended to look really cool. But I mean, with production pipelines and VFX pipelines on modern blockbusters, who the fuck knows how any of this is actually gonna look in the end? It's kind of amazing though how much like I think just a logo on the chest of this power armor has told us about this film's general plot and instigating factors. Might as well rename the film to Local Horrible Bald Man is in Hell. As for Superman himself, I wasn't expecting any meaningful changes to the Superman suit based on the fact that it has been taken off display at the Warner Brothers studio tour, with the reason stated that it's being used in production. And I was a little disappointed by that because I thought the suit could definitely use some tweaks in a few areas. But we do have this image doing the rounds of Superman here. And there's a lot of conversation about, like, how the suit is fitting him. The spacing of, like, the logo on the torso and how the collar is shaped. I don't think this image is enough to go on. Just to say anything about the suit any which way. It's a fairly clear picture, but the thing is, it's already dark lit, with all the light being behind him. But then there's also, like, different suits for different purposes when it comes to filming. We notice that he's very much rigged up on wires here, so he is going to be doing some kind of stunt, and the costume will be adjusted to accommodate for that. It's just very difficult to comment on, like, the fit of the suit, like a lot of people are talking about, when, like, the suit has clearly been adjusted for these wires, and it's being pulled in specific directions. That really isn't necessarily how the suit is going to look on him when he's, like, talking and interacting. When it comes to things like placement of the logo, like, again, the fabric can stretch. And as for the collar shape, I won't deny that does look like a new, refined collar shape, but the collar did change shape from scene to scene in Superman 2025 as well. You might remember during the nighttime scene with the multi-dimensional imp, Superman's collar didn't go as deep as it does on all the other scenes. I don't think this image here is enough to discern any real details or changes between the suits. What we can see is that by and large it's the same overall design. Still a blue bodysuit with a red cape and red trunks. We can see that the panel lining is back, specifically around like the shoulders and the arms, and I do like the ones on the shoulders. I just hope the ones on the arms will look a little nicer. We can't see any on the torso, but they're probably there. When asked if Superman's suit was the exact same one from the previous movie, James Gunn said, no, it's not the exact same. So there will probably be some little differences here and there. Like, I don't know if in this image it looks like the suit is reflecting light a bit differently to how it did before. I think it does look like a nicer fit around the arms, but again, I just don't think this image is enough to go by. So it's funny because we got images of Lex that tell us everything we need to know, and then we got an image of Superman that tells kind of nothing, in my opinion. Either way, if there's no major changes to Superman's suit, then it's not the end of the world. I did like his suit in Superman 2025. It's just there are so many obvious glaring things that I would just change about it, given half a chance. And if you want to see those changes in detail, I will leave a link to a video where I make those changes in detail in the pinned comment. But that's gonna be it for today, DC fans. How are we feeling about Man of Tomorrow? How do we like Lex's suit? What changes do you hope you'll see in Superman's suit? Do you want changes? Yeah, that's what the comments are for. Why don't you go leave a comment? Subscribe if you like this stuff and you haven't done that already. Leave a like if you like the video. Leave a dislike if you dislike the video. Honesty does matter at the end of the day. And I'm told that the hype button, if you're on mobile phone, is pretty powerful stuff. So if you do want to hit me up with some of that'd be great. But if you don't want to do any of that, that's also just cool. Now, this is the first video of a new month, so I will be naming all of the patrons now. We've got Manelza KB12, Twilord, Biotin, Sirius the Skeptic, and Mr. SP, Kale Bennett, Denny Sad, Goku, Ghostly Phantom, Xanderwolf, Channel Pup, Lifeform Data officially copied, Council of Geeks, SSS06, Carl X, RT0, Marv Animation, Grant Allen, Josh Strider, Silver, Ben Raven, Basic Content, Gideon Wells, Press Player Jason, Joseph Tribble, Cho Henshin, Shenlock Brackus, Ollie Heap, Stefan P, Chris Dawson, Ian, Plushcap, Sonic the Screwdriver. Did you know this entire video is AI generated? No, it is not AI generated at Zinco. It is not. Sam Webster, Mystery Chaos, Ryan Simnet, Jordan R, Rusty Bucks Cat at the Soleil Studio, Just a Dreamer, Smacko, Hollow Apple, Renbo, Rhythm and Tempo, Aquil Jaguar, Sniggins, and Steel Joe 1120. Thank you, folks, so much for your generosity. And to the rest of you, my channel is indeed the buffet. Grab yourself another plate, get another helping, and don't stop watching until you are full, okay? Get those tummies full. Consume.